All right, folks, good afternoon. I know just logged on, so give it a couple of minutes for everyone to hop on. But we've got an amazing crew here today. We got a few folks on here who's been in the business for quite a bit, have their own team as well. And so for while we're waiting for everyone to hop on, just for anyone that's new to my channel, my name is Caesar. Started virtual wholesaling last year, so it's been 12 months. Did over $100,000 of assignment fees, closed and funded. So I'm literally just a regular guy who got away from the 9 to 5 grind and just trying to build a legacy here. So the channel is all about growing together and inspiring each other. And so I've invited a few of these folks today to share with us their journey and what they're looking for and talk about their team. So enough with me. Let's, if you guys don't mind, let's go around and do a quick round robin. J Dub, why don't we go with you first?
Yeah, JW Epstein. I've been investing for 4 years, and I've been full time for almost 3 years now. I was in the car business for about 20 years, and had a few rentals at that time, and then uh, some things happened, and it's time to do something else. So I started wholesaling, buying properties, selling properties, just trying to make a go of it. So I currently I started out alone. I got a local mentor here in Amarillo, and he kind of showed me some stuff. I've since found RJ Bates and continued learning some more stuff there. So even though I am alone, I've somewhat always had a team, somebody to bounce stuff off of. It can definitely get lonely, when you're out here by yourself and no one to talk to. I've done. I did 51 deals this year, and I'm to the point of adding some people to my team to help with some support and to help do some follow up. So anyway, that's a little bit about me.
Thanks, J Dub. Appreciate it. Joey, why don't we go with you?
Absolutely. So my name is Joey Bibbo. I'm out of New Jersey, living full time in Columbia, actually in Jersey right now, but we're going back. I've been doing this business. It's honestly going on in my fifth year come this new year. So I've been doing this about 5 years. I did not, I technically started with a team. I started with partners, and long story short, we were together for 3 years, closed a bunch of deals, and then just split up because we just stopped working together well. So still best friends to this day, but it was a team of four of us to get the whole business started, and now I have a team. It's about nine, including myself, eight actual team members on our team, and yeah, I never joined my own team. I'm of the sound mind of failing forward myself, which was not the best decision. I probably would have done my first, like this year's getting close to my first gross seven figure year, but I probably would have absolutely done my first seven figure year by now if I had done learned from someone else before. I was very stubborn in terms of getting mentors and getting help. I was just like, let me fail forward and learn myself. So in the process, I've learned a shit ton. Like I've definitely gotten more experience than you probably could imagine because I've been dragged through the mud to get here. Started with no money, but have the team now. It's eight of us, and I'm always looking for new team members. If anybody's ever looking for a team, we're 100% virtual. I do not have an office. I have people in multiple countries. Like we're not only in the United States, but always looking for new people. And somebody should join a team. If you don't have real estate experience, you don't have sales experience, or you don't have business experience, join a team first, get some of those experiences so you don't have to fail all on your own. And then eventually, if you want to do it on your own, you're always going to be welcome to. But it's just learning from somebody that's done it, that's failed already, so you don't have to fail as hard yourself.
That's great, man. Thanks, Joey. By the way, Jermaine has been watching my channel for quite some time now. He's actually part of Titanium. He was part of the six pack, I think. So he's out in Jersey. So Jermaine, you might want to hook up with Joey at some point. I've got both of you guys' phone numbers, so I can definitely connect you guys.
Hell yeah! Now if you're in Jersey, we got to connect.
There you go. Jesse, my man.
What up? Yeah, I'm Jesse. I've been doing wholesaling about a year. It's not my first go at any kind of business or anything. I was doing digital marketing mostly. I did 8 figures doing that, and it was a situation where I was just burnt out, and it was just too labor intensive to be able to manage it all. So I wanted to pivot into something else, and that's when I got into this. And I've done probably like 700,000 this year so far.
Nice. And were you doing that all by yourself, Jesse?
Yeah, I have a VA, but
Got
that's
it.
about it. Yeah.
Dude, that is super duper awesome. There you go. We're all ears when Jesse speaks, eh? 700,000. That's pretty darn good, man. So yeah, just wanted to kind of like leave this open. I don't want it to be too formal, right? So thank you for introducing yourselves. And I think some of you guys probably answered this already. When you started, were you alone? Did you join a team? J-Dub, I know you've always been alone. So if you can give folks, a little bit of the reasons why you stayed alone. At the end of the day, there's more than one option, right? You don't have to join a team. The reason why I have this today is just to show you guys that, hey, if you are someone like me, when I first started, I was just telling the guys before we hopped on here, I'm a ready, fire, aim kind of guy where it's just like, I just need to know enough to be a little dangerous. And I just go, right? I just go and I make a ton of mistakes. I learn from it and so forth. But also my analytical side goes, but if I get this under contract, well, where's my contract? And then from there, how do I find a title company? And like, there were so many different questions, and to a point where I'm like, dude, I got to join a team so that I can just see the process, everything behind the scenes, so I can see it from soup to nuts. And that's one of the reasons why I joined my team. And then we always had an understanding that, hey, once I know enough, I'm either going to go on my own, or if we end up like working with each other, then we can talk about partnership. So that's kind of like my journey when I first started. Guys, I'm going to leave it open to you guys. Like, tell me a little bit about you guys as far as when you first started, and why did you decide to stay alone? And for some of you who joined, like, why did you join the team?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, it was a complete startup from when I started wholesaling. Again, I found a mentor about 3 months in, just to answer some of those questions that Caesar was talking about. Like, okay, so what do I do now? What do I do? There's always little tricks. I mean, that's the biggest advantage to me to joining a team, especially if you're just getting started. Find somebody that knows and can answer some of those questions. It's a symbiotic relationship. I mean, there's for me right now. I've grown to, I do everything belly to belly. I've got rentals that I've got to try to manage and keep under control. And I needed some help to help me make calls, to help get follow-up calls, because things were slipping through the cracks. If anything else, just to kind of piggyback off of what Joey was saying earlier, when you're just getting started, getting those processes in place. I mean, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So just to get going and see how somebody else does something, you might not do it the same way, but to see a way to do it, so you don't go do all of those things all on your own, and fall on your face. And I've cost myself quite a bit of money by doing some of those things. I mean, Joey's sitting over there laughing, Caesar's laughing. I mean, you do those things, and you can learn from others' mistakes if you will listen. Sometimes that's the hard part. But yeah, I think there's definitely value in joining a team. I think there's value in staying alone. But again, just going back to what I said in the opening, I mean, it's lonely. I mean, just to have somebody to share the wins with, somebody to help you through the losses as well. I mean, because it can be tough. You can get down. So just have some guys to lean on to pick you up and celebrate when you're winning.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. Also for me, like, if I didn't have my team for the first 3 years of trying to figure this shit out, like, this was my first 3 years actually in my own business. Like, I was working insurance before this. I'm only 29 years old. So I literally was like failing forward. And if I If I didn't have my partners back then, I think and like I'm not a fucking quitter. I have not. I've been doing this thing for a long time. I've gone broke so many times, but honestly, I might have actually quit. Like straight up. Like if like how hard it got over time, there might have been times where if I didn't have other people to lean on and I was literally with my computer and a dialer and myself, I would have driven myself crazy. Like if I had business experience and sales experience and I was coming in with like the recipe and all I had to do is learn a different industry, then yeah, you probably don't need it because you have the skills already. So now you're going to be able to close a lot easier. And it's not like you're going through the road of sorrow when you're like starting a business, learning sales, and kind of having to master everything all at once. So I'd say like it for me, it was good to have people to lean on. But once I got to a certain point, for me, I had to start getting more people to start doing the monotonous tasks that we had to hire out to get to start doing.
Absolutely. And I'm actually glad you brought that up, Joey, because that's actually one of the main reasons why I started the channel was just to create that synergy, create a platform where anyone either can listen, or I've always invited people just hop on and make some calls with me, man. Like even if you don't want to be live, like put yourself on mute, turn off your video, but at least you're doing the same action that everyone's doing, because I've also been in sales for many years. And whenever I'm in a lion's den, that's when I'm pumped up. Like I'm hearing the phone ring, I'm hearing everyone picking up their phones. And then next thing you know, you hear someone's objection and how they overcame that objection. You're like, whoa, like I should have said it that way. You know what I mean? It's like, it's exactly the same message, but the delivery is a little different. So absolutely, man. So 100% agree with you on that one. Jesse?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you guys were touching on whether or not joining a team or doing it solo.
Yep.
Yeah, for me, I mean, joining a team for me, I had some capital since I was doing okay with digital marketing before I started this. And for me, like joining a team and having to go by other people's rules would have just been a nightmare. So I've just kind of been doing stuff solo and figuring out as I go. And at this point, just doing it about a year, just kind of working on figuring out what I could outsource and hire for, and kind of going that route right now.
Absolutely. And that's a great, yeah, I'm really glad you pointed that out as well, because there are a lot of people out there, they may not have the capital that you have, right? Or some of us have. I know when I first started, I had very little to no capital at all. And so whenever I would talk, go to a meetup, I would just ask them like, hey man, like I don't have any experience. But I've got time and I've got grit. If you want someone that can make phone calls for you, I will do it. Now, I always told them as well, like, I'm only going to do it if you share with me your knowledge, right? Like, I want to see it. Like, I'll work hard for you as long as you teach me what needs to be done here. I don't need hand holding, but I just need you to show me what's going on. And so I've always had that open communication with the people that I spoke with. And I think it went well across a lot of different folks, right? They knew exactly what I was trying to do. They knew I was hungry. And so I just wanted to point that out for a lot of folks, because some of folks, you might want to get into the business, but capital is stopping you, right? All these questions are stopping you. Then yeah, if you don't have the capital, trade in your time and grit for experience and knowledge. And that's and for me, the experience and knowledge was worth a lot more than any commissions out there. So I didn't care, right? If someone just wanted to give me a small percentage, I'm like, bro, that's fine. But if I'm not part of your calls, or if you don't record your call and I don't see anything and I don't learn, I'm gonna go find another guy that's gonna show me the ropes. Because for me, that was important. That was their payment to me, right? They didn't even have to give me any commission, really. I was like, just show me the ropes. So Joey, I didn't know if you wanted to say something there, but
I mean, that's kind of, you either have money or time. That's all it really comes down to. So if you have money, then obviously you don't have to do a lot of the monotonous tasks that you would do if you only have time. So it's like you gotta really have a self-assessment. Like no one comes on my team if they're not at least financially good for the next 90 days. Because once you know the deal cycle and you understand how long it takes for stuff to get done and the training cycle, it's like obviously most people come through my training, they're going to get their first contract in their first week or two. That's how it's always been. But it's like after that, what about actually funding the deal? It could take up to 90 days sometimes if it closes. So it's just making sure that everyone has that understanding going into it if they're going to come on the team. But even if you have, like, that's where you got to do a self-assessment on yourself when you're getting in the business. Like, if you have money and you're good for the next 90 days, how much do you actually have? Can you allocate some towards marketing? Because if you can, then it's like obviously the process is going to be sped up. But it's also like if you don't have the right mentor, you don't have the right team or people to guide you, then you could have the money, you could have the time to put up, but if you don't have the right lane to go in or the right process, you're going to waste so much more money. So it's like really assess where you guys are at in the business, in business in general, and obviously in your finances. And that's really what's going to kind of help gauge, like, all right, am I going to join a team or am I going to go solo? If I go solo, what am I going to do? Am I going to cold call? Am I going to get marketing? And it kind of just makes the whole process easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, sorry, Caesar, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to ask the next question, but go for it.
Yeah, so I want to just kind of piggyback off of Caesar there. I mean, there's a saying. I mean, if you have the deal, the money will come. If you have the skills, the money will come. There's people that are. So for me, I love teaching, and that's where I am right now. I never have aspirations to have an 8-person team. So Joey, good for you. That's way too many people for me. But I like being able to have somebody that I don't have to babysit, but if they have a question, be able to call, be able to do this. There's always money. There's always capital for leads. There's always capital for the right deal. So if you have a skill set and like Caesar said, if you have grit, people will sponsor you. People will provide you with leads if you're willing to put in the work. And to Joey's point as well, again, everybody likes to talk about you don't have to have any money to do this. That's the biggest line of baloney you've ever got. I mean, you've got to have some money put back. I mean, you need to figure out how to budget so that you can save some money. So you got that 90 days, 120 days that you can get by without making any money. And eventually that's going to turn into ad spend. You're going to have to be able to constantly provide lead spend. So be disciplined on that. And you're, in my opinion, you're wasting your time if you get started without any money at all and you're wanting to make a go of it. Yeah, you can do it as a hobby and kill a few hours, but you need to have a plan and not just going rabbit hunt without a gun, as I like to call it.
Absolutely. And actually, this wasn't even part of the question, but since we're having this discussion, for you folks who started as a lone wolf and still the same way, like if someone were to start here, everyone always says it's a low barrier, right? But we all know that at the end of the day, if you want to win the game, you got to get leads. There's got to be, you got to put some money into marketing, to the ad spend. So in your guys' honest opinion, where do you think someone needs to be as far as capital wise to go, okay, I can do this on my own, or if I should go ahead and join a team? And that might be a heavy loaded question, but give it your best shot.
Man, I think probably you got to have like 20 grand a month to spend on your business, I think, to really be completely solo with it. I think that maybe you guys would have a different opinion. I mean, I guess you could go like, you could do a lot of cold calling yourself, but to me, that just sounds like a nightmare. So I've tried to pay a premium to like cut down on a lot of time and get like PPC and stuff like that. And for me to go solo and just kind of go all in, I think really somebody would need about 20 grand a month.
Yeah, I think that, it depends on the markets that you're in. I don't think you're wrong, Jesse. I think it depends on the markets and the scale, but it is to your point, Caesar, it is a heavy, kind of a loaded question. One, it depends on what your expenses are. I mean, are you the only one providing for your family? I mean, do you have financial support? You got to figure out because not only do you have to have money for ad spend, but you've got to have money to eat. Like baby needs new shoes. I mean, you gotta have that stuff. So that's the first part. You need living expenses. I get, that's great, Joey. I mean, 90 days that you tell your guys that, because if you don't, I mean, you're setting them up for failure. And all of a sudden you did them more harm than you did good. So
100%.
aside from living expenses, you need 90 days living expenses. I disagree with Jesse a little bit on the 20 grand. I mean, I got started. I kind of bootstrapped everything. I started. I'm there now, but it cost me that to run my business now. But it didn't. I mean, I got started with about $2,000 a month, and I just gradually upped that ad spend a little bit. Then went into different marketing channels. Different. I've always been PPC. I mean, I'm sorry, a PPL. I've done some PPC. Started doing some mailers. It just depends on what you want to do. But yeah, if you want the slow death, start cold calling without any money, and you'll wear yourself out. In my opinion.
That's what I did.
All right, so I'm gonna be completely against everybody right now.
Yeah.
All right,
awesome.
so you definitely need to be able to pay your bills. If you guys are in your 20s and you're living home with your parents and you don't have a literal need to pay your bills, your overhead is virtually $0 a month, depending on your situation and depending on your family situation, obviously. That's not going to be the same for everybody. Like, I know guys that are 21 years old and have kids and have fucking expenses more than guys that are 40 years old, but that's irrelevant. The point is your living expenses you need to know. But I've made 100,000, my only 100K month I've done so far. I didn't spend $1 on marketing. There wasn't a single deal that closed from any marketing that I spent, and I didn't make a single cold call. Not one. The only cold calls that we made were to buyers, not the sellers. So it all depends on your situation, and it all depends on what you're good at and what you guys like. Like, yes, if you have 20 grand a month to spend, you're gonna make fucking money. Like, that's enough money that even if you suck at marketing, you're gonna fall on some deals. Like 20 grand a month, if you could pay someone to do all the marketing for you. You could pay, fuck the PPL, you could do PPL, but you could pay a actual person that has like a PPC company that they charge you like 2,500 a month, and they could run a whole marketing campaign for you, and the first quarter of it could suck, but eventually you're going to get deals closed. So absolutely 20K a month, you guys are going to be golden. But I'm literally launching a course that's from broke to 100K that shows you how you can start wholesaling real estate literally with $0, because you don't physically need money to make money in this business. It's obviously easier to make money if you have money, but like, I'm the definition of resourcefulness, because I didn't have money to spend on marketing until this year. And like, literally until this year, we've been able to make at minimum 100K a year, minimum. And it's just like, so for me, it all depends on your situation. It's always going to come back to that. It's kind of like when you're trying to sell a creative deal. It all depends on the seller situation. You got to understand the situation, because it could be it's about how much time do you have, how much money do you have, and then you assess how you're going to attack the business. Because you don't need to make cold calls to get contracts. You could go on Facebook and you could get JVs and you could get exclusive agreements signed, and now all you got to do is sell the deal, and you could have 20 deals at a time to sell and sell 10 of them at a 20K spread, and you're making fucking, what is that, 100K? You know what I mean? So it's like, that might not be the right math. I was going quick there, but
You were going quick. You lost me there, and I'm usually pretty good at math. But no, I completely understand, man, and I know Jesse. Obviously he's got the capital for it, and then also too, he came from the digital marketing world, so I'm pretty sure he knew how to use that 20K wisely.
I should clarify too that 20K that would include all your living expenses. I mean, that's what I'm spending between marketing and my living expenses. But I don't have kids. So, I mean, everybody's personal situation is different, but for me, 20 grand between the business and my personal expenses is just kind of where I was comfortable at, getting enough lead flow coming in, quality with you spend more money for the higher quality, but it takes less time to lock them up. So, I mean, you could go cheaper and spend more time if you got the time. But if you just want to like jump right in, I mean, and you got the capital, that's kind of the route I went.
Hell yeah. No, 20K. If you have it, 20K, you're gonna be good. You obviously got to learn sales. So if you don't know sales, you can spend 20K. I know, I know some
And
people that spent a lot more than 20K and couldn't close a deal from it. So
I was just gonna say, be very careful with a lot of people that are watching. You hit it right on, Joey. If you don't know how to sell, or you don't, well, the thing is, we're buying, right? So we're not necessarily selling, but there's still some skills involved there. There's a lot of skills involved. So yes, if you don't have a whole lot of experience in that world, then get your teeth kicked in the cheapest possible, most cost effective possible, and then learn. Like, that's why I did a lot of cold calling in the beginning. I'm actually a different breed where I get excited about cold calling. And the reason why I get excited about cold calling is because for me, it's all about learning. Like, I never looked at each dial as a dollar sign. I looked at each dial as a learning experience, right? And so for me, I just wanted to out dial everyone so that I can learn as quickly as possible. One of the things that one of my friends told me, on one of the meetups, it's like, dude, the best thing you can do is be as loud as possible about what you're trying to do. Now, that went against my way of doing things because I like to fly under the radar. I like to just do my thing, have the grit, and then just have my actions show for it, right? And so when I heard that at first, like, oh man, I don't know if I can do that. But he was absolutely right, because the louder that I got about what I was trying to do, the more people wanted to help me. And I'm going, you know what? It's okay. And it's okay to put yourself out there, because one, it's going to push me to succeed. Because now it's like, I don't want to sound like an idiot. So I don't want to fail at all. Right. So it's just going to make me work twice as hard, or think of other ways to be more efficient, try to find solutions. So that, I just want to kind of bring that up, because in the beginning, I really had very little to no capital. And so I had to do things with very, very little on a monthly basis. So it was literally just, how can I do this as cheaply as possible? All I needed to make sure my cell phone bill was paid, I had my Wi-Fi, and I have my MacBook. And that was it. And I can afford the skip tracing. And then I got sick and tired of skip tracing, because 80% of them were wrong numbers. So I started doing FISBOs. And the first 2 deals I ever closed was a FISBO. They were both like over 90 days, And so, and then from there, I was going, okay, now I know how this works. I need to join a team, because it took me, 4 months to do. And I go, I need to go quicker on this. And that's when I decided I'm going to go ahead and join a team. It's lucky enough, I found Austin. Once again, it was being loud. I just went on Facebook. I was like, hey, I have a buyer. I need a sub 2 or a seller finance deal in Houston. And Austin ended up having one. And we kind of just hit it off, because we're both from the tech industry. And that was it. So I know I was rambling there for a little bit. So last question I have for you guys is, and you've answered some of this already, do you have a team now? If you do, how big is it? If you don't have a team, are you looking for someone, and what are you looking for?
Yeah, I'll start. So I just recently added someone. I'm not sure exactly what that question was. I think I got the gist of it. But I needed help. I like to teach. So going back to what Caesar was saying, I mean, there's people that want to teach. There's people that want to learn. If somebody's wanting to learn, like I want to help teach. I want to be able to be there, to be a sounding board when you have a specific question. That's why I couldn't handle 8 people like Joey has. I want to dedicate my time. I want to do my deal, and I want to help somebody else along the way, and have them kind of back me up and learn. And I want to train my competitors. I love that. I mean, I want everybody to go out and be successful. The more successful they are, the better that's going to make me. I learn as I teach. I remind myself of things that I know. So yeah, I just added somebody like a couple of weeks ago that's calling on some of my old leads. I want to make sure that, Caesar did Caesar did a deal on the gold is in the old or whatever that was. Just before this started, I had a deal that I had sent a contract out back in March for like 60,000. Well, they ghosted me and they went away. Aaron just sent a contract out to the same guy that I sent a contract out in March for $39,000 today and got it signed. So, I mean, obviously there were some challenges in my underwriting, but obviously motivation has increased as well. So, I mean, that's a $20,000 price drop without doing anything. The guy just finally, the motivation reached high enough. So if you get on a team and you start calling and somebody's giving you some older leads, don't turn your nose up at them. Sometimes those are the easiest ones because their motivation has increased. So hopefully I answered that question, but if not, we'll circle back.
Well, one thing, J-Dub, is, are you looking for someone right now? And if not, that's okay. But when you do, what are you looking for?
Yeah, so I'm not currently looking for anybody right now. I mean, I've got what I need. I'm looking for someone that is knows a few things. I mean, as far as that's watching RJ that knows how to close, that has a process that's going through that. I don't want to start from the very beginning because it's going to be virtually. If somebody were sitting here beside me and wanted to come listen to me all day for free, then yeah, absolutely. Just going back to what Caesar said. I mean, if you're willing to sit and listen and watch and learn, and that's some of the best way to do it. I'll take somebody like that wants to do it for nothing. But right now I'm good. But when I'm looking for someone, I'm looking for somebody that wants to grow, that wants to learn, and I want to be able to help catapult them to the next level. And if they want to stay on, and that's great. But ultimately, I want to try to get somebody to where they're out on their own, doing their own thing, and just build the network. As that goes, I mean, the network just gets stronger. They're going to find buyers that I don't have, and you're just going to lean on one another.
Absolutely. Jesse.
Yeah, so at the moment, I just have a VA. I do want to start hiring and outsourcing kind of a position of like a follow-up specialist, I guess it would be. Someone that is familiar with RJ's style of closing. It resonates with me a lot, and that's how I'm locking stuff up. And then it could be something that grows into a more closer position, and it'd be completely virtual. I live wherever I want, and my team would too. And yeah, I mean, it's gonna, I'm thinking things through. I've only been doing this a year, but it'd probably be a position where they'd be taking it front to back the same way I'm doing it. Like I'm able to manage it, lock it up, dispo it. But it'd be commission only, and the percentage would be above average. So I forgot who was mentioning, but that might have been you, Joey, where whoever joins on, like they have to have some finances dialed in already, because it does take a while for stuff to close out and pay. And, they got to have their stuff together a little bit to be able to fit in and kind of do what we're doing. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm mulling around, and just thinking about how I could kind of outsource the tasks that don't fire me up so much, but those same tasks might fire somebody else up, especially when they're getting paid decent for it. And then start moving out from an outside perspective, looking in on how I could scale the business. But that's kind of where my mind's at.
Got it. And Jesse, I just flashed Brandon's question there. What kind of roles do y'all need on your team? So if I heard you correctly, you're looking for someone that's more of like a follow-up specialist. So are they following up on old leads? Are they following up on the leads that you've been trying to get a hold of? Like, what do you mean exactly by follow-up?
Yeah, because I have a VA that's going through a bunch of cold dead leads that don't really ever amount to anything. So the follow-up specialist would probably be more like somebody that hitting up the leads that are like, I always have these leads that are kind of in limbo where I got to maintain communication, but
Mhm.
it could be a week or two, and it's just like that just drains me. I don't really want anything to do with it. I want the ones that are ready to go. I go through my process, I lock them up, and I go help them out. So having somebody that kind of fill that gap where some of these people that are more indecisive, they do require some more follow-ups and touching base with them and stuff. It'd probably be a position like that where it's not a cold dead lead. It could very well amount to something, but it's just going to take a little bit more time. And then that same hire could eventually grow and evolve into a higher level closer. It's kind of my thought process on it.
Perfect. Cool. What about you, Joey?
So obviously, as you guys know now, I have a team of 8. Um, I'm always adding new people to my team. So like I'm not posting ads right now. I'm not marketing anything right now. I'm not trying to add anybody right now. But if anybody comes my way and they're worthy of being on the team, then I absolutely will give them the opportunity. So it's just one of those things. Like I have training fully dialed in now where like if somebody comes in, any person that's ever gone through my acquisition training, like I don't have follow-up specialists. I literally train everybody to be a closer. So like if someone's coming onto my team, they're literally coming on to either be an acquisition manager, a transaction coordinator, or a disposition manager. We don't have any follow-up specialists in the company. The way that we do our follow-ups is the quick ones, we're kind of changing this now. The quick ones are done manually, the long-term ones are done via text and AI bots. So essentially for me, what I'm looking for somebody on my team, obviously you have to be self-motivated because I do not babysit anybody. I don't have time to babysit people. I don't have patience to babysit. I definitely don't have patience to do it. So anyone that's on my team, there's accountability every single morning. We do our morning meeting and you're kind of have at it for the rest of the day. I try to be as present as I can, and I think JW had kind of touched on it where like he wants to be able to touch every single person every single day. I'm big on that. Like I got to make sure my people are getting taken care of, and that's one thing I'm still learning as we go. So like now it's kind of just time blocking the time. So it's not every single day. I do a team meeting every single day. There's no way I could get to 8 people and have one-on-ones every single day with 8 people. That's crazy. Like I already lost my hair. I'd probably lose it all over again. But when it comes to what I'm actually physically looking for in a person to join the team, self-starter is like that goes without saying, but it's coachable, accountable, and no, I'm sorry, coachable, available, and have a good attitude. If you don't have those 3 things, you will not last on my team. Because the culture that we're building, like if you come in, and this goes for you guys that are actually like doing the business every single day. If you guys come in and you're like this, you're all fucking drained. And you're like, hi, how's it going, man? Like you sound like shit. Then you're not going to close. You're not going to have success, and you're not going to win. So coachability, availability, and having a good attitude are the 3 biggest things. Because I have a process that you have to follow. Like we have one process that we do throughout the entire business, and I'm like crazy with this because I'm very big when I coach other people. It's not about having like you don't have to be RJ Bates, or it's like figure out who you guys vibe with, and then whoever you guys vibe with, just follow their process because all these different processes work.
Yep.
Every process I've ever learned has worked. So for us, it's our way of doing it. They do have to follow the process because that helps with coaching. When you guys are building a team, if you're going to be the one building it, just make sure you have your SOPs in place. Make sure that you have a set sales process in place. Because if you got 10 different people or 8 different people and 8 people are doing different things, it's very hard to coach that because like there's no uniformity. So it's like when one of my guys say something wrong, I could hear it and I can address it and fix it very quickly because we have a process. But without that process, I wouldn't be able to have more than probably 1 or 2 people on my team at a time. So it's really just having that stuff dialed in and then just making sure anyone that ever comes on my team, or if you guys are in this business, like you need those 3 things to be successful in life. You do need those 3 things. I think Cesar said it before the best, which is when he's making calls, he's not worried about the money. He's not worried about closing a seller. He's worried about literally learning. And if you guys could have that mentality, fuck, I mean, that's what they don't teach out there. That's what you guys got to have. It's that coachability, because then you're gonna never stop learning, and you're just gonna keep going higher and higher and higher.
Absolutely. No, that's great. And that's one thing I've always said too. Some of you guys you guys know I play a lot of cards, and I always say there's no right way, there's no wrong way. You just got to find the way that works for you. Right. So all of these guys out there, they're all successful in their own right. So obviously their process got to work. And so just got to figure out which one vibes with you. And then just follow through with it, pick one. That's what I did. And RJ just resonated with me because it is a simple process. We don't need to complicate it. And so that's what I did. Now, Manny just asked a question, Joey. What are some of the and I think you might have answered some of this already. What are some challenges that you're facing running your operation?
In terms of the virtual model in general, because that's kind of what this is for. The biggest thing is just having those systems and accountability in place. Accountability is the number one thing that when you have a virtual operation, like there's not a day that goes by that we don't have an accountability meeting in the morning, because that's the only way to track people that are virtual. You cannot, and it's not like we have a KPI tracker that they fill out, but you can also track inside the CRM. So it's just making sure that things are trackable because you're not in person. So like if they're not in, it's also having a virtual office. That's one of the things that's definitely like created the office environment without physically having to be next to each other, because like we have a Discord channel, there's an acquisitions chat, a general chat, and a dispo chat, and all the teams are with each other every day, and that's how you just create that synergy working together. So it's just making sure that accountability is in place, and all the systems, processes, and people are in place that enable me to do it. Because if I didn't have my team, I mean, I'd be living in Colombia, but I would not have a business. I'd be sitting there every single day. I wouldn't be on this live right now. I'd be calling.
Yep, absolutely. And and as far as my team goes, I mean, we are looking for a dispo guy. We want to start everyone on the dispo side, especially if you're new. The only reason is because I've done it. I think a lot of people have done it. When you learn how to dispo, and that's when you actually get better at comping and underwriting, because then now you're actually looking at it from an end buyer's point of view. I'm an acquisition guy, so I've always wanted to stick with the acquisition. But I also, once again, it goes back to learning. I wanted to learn. I was like, why are my deals not going through, right? And so I was getting ticked off. I was like, screw whoever's doing dispo. I'm going to do the dispo this time. I want to feel the pain that my dispo guys are feeling so that I can get better. And because of that, we're looking for someone that's willing to start on the dispo side. Doesn't mean you have to be in dispo forever, right? Show that you have grit, show that you're learning that you're coachable, that you're available, and then move your way towards acquisition side. Because at some point we are going to need to add more acquisition. But right now, what we need is dispo, and for two reasons. One, we need it, and two, because I believe that's really the way to go to get into that acquisition side. People might disagree with me, but that's how we're running things right now as far as my team goes.
It works in terms of comping, bro. You put someone in dispo and they got to go up to bat for the shit that they locked up, you're going to be a lot more conservative on your next contract.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We have a couple of questions here. Manny asked, what type of marketing are you guys doing? PPL, PPC, cold calls, and why?
Yeah, Jesse, you want to start that off?
Sure. I'm doing PPC, and I just started doing PPL with iSpeed to Lead. I did. In the beginning, I had a call center agency that was sending me cold call leads that they supposedly vetted, and I felt like it was a waste of time. I quickly pivoted to PPC just because the quality, people are interested in selling. And it was a stark difference when they're waiting for your phone call instead of like getting called out of the blue. So again, I'm always optimizing for convenience and making things more easy for myself. So that's kind of the route I'm going. And then PPL, there's different sources where they're getting the leads from. It could be social media, it could be SEO, could be PPC. Those tend to be, I mean, that'd be a step up from a call center's cold calling leads. So PPL, PPC is the best quality. So that's why I'm running with those.
Yeah, so I want to hear Joey's I want to hear Joey's answer because he's spending $0 on marketing.
Oh, not anymore. Not anymore. Trust
not
me.
anymore. Okay.
We spend a lot on marketing right now.
Okay.
But I'm doing, so the whole beginning of the year I was doing a lot in Facebook ads. That was like the main marketing channel. I did some my speed to lead. Honestly, I wasn't happy with the results from my speed to lead. We bought a lot and didn't close a single one from them. But that's just probably the leads that we were locking up. The thing works. Any lead, to me, a lead is a lead. So like to me, it literally is irrelevant where the lead source came from. If they want to sell their house, I'm good. But yeah, so we were doing the Facebook ads for a very long time. And then what I noticed was I had 40 contracts locked up. I think it was in the month of July. And I looked at our deals and like we had like over 500 grand in projected revenue and like we were rich and we're all good. And none of them fucking moved. Not none of them, but a majority of them were definitely canceled. And the reason that happened was because they were all in population sizes probably under 10K, let alone 20K. So what I realized was with the Facebook ads that we were running, and like my boy runs my Facebook ads for me, and he's one of the, like, he did it for his own business for a very long time and had a lot of success with that business, and then pivoted to wholesaling and ran it for his wholesale business. So like he knows what he's doing on the ad space. So it's not like the ad guy sucked. But it's just no matter how, we were targeting metro markets and still getting leads not in metro markets because there's people that still live in these metro markets that have homes and secondary homes in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Oklahoma, Louisiana, whatever, and they were not converting. That was the issue. So two things happened. One, I figured out the solution to that issue, which is you need to list those properties on the MLS and probably go for a novation on them or a flat fee listing on them, but be upfront with the seller. And number two is I needed cold callers. I needed my own data. So what I did now is I literally we have a PPL provider that we get dumped in leads from. And then I have a provider, I have my own in-house VAs that I trained myself that do our cold calling for us. So we basically have those two channels going, and then I have JVs that are always naturally coming in because we have a very good dispo process that's finally locked in now. But so that and investor lift and whatever, but that's where our marketing is now. So it's basically the PPC and the PPL give you your quality of leads, like those are going to definitely be less leads to a contract, but the VAs give you your targeted leads, which means you could stay pretty niche down into certain markets where obviously if you're running a Facebook ad campaign in Dallas, Texas, like not every lead is going to come in the best parts of Dallas, Texas. You're probably going to be in the hood in some areas, and it depends on the buyer's activity. Obviously, Dallas, you could probably sell a deal almost anywhere, but there are certain metros that once you get into, if you're not in the best areas, you're not going to be able to sell the deals, or it's going to be a lot harder to sell them if they're not deep enough. So it's kind of just making sure I have the quality plus the quantity and targeting so that we don't ever have that problem happen again.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I'm a little different. Can y'all still hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Just because I just focus on my local market, but I've always done PPL, I've done PPC. I've never done any cold calling. I am on television. I do direct mail as well. So yeah, it's I like to have a lot of lines in the water because you never know where they're going to come from. I've done some Facebook ads, similar results as what Joey had. I mean, I just did not feel I just didn't feel the leads were as quality as other leads that I was getting in. It's always been just me, so I wanted the quality versus the quantity because I wanted to be able to go close and didn't need to spend my time following up a ton on stuff. Brandon, to answer your question, I'm in Amarillo, Texas. I cover about about 150-mile radius around Amarillo. I deal in some of those leads that I would get in the smaller markets that Joe. I mean, I've sold houses in 5,000 population towns. I do a lot of hotels. I close on the majority of my deals. So, but again, you get it cheap enough, right? You still have to buy it deep enough. It doesn't matter if you're wholesaling. It doesn't matter. I mean, the depth of that you buy the deal, every deal is going to sell. You have to not have the customer fear and just hit them in the mouth. And if they don't like it, it's okay. It's just business. Do they want to sell it or do they want to hold on to it? Like, it's at the end of the day, it's not that hard. You've got to, in the rural markets, you just really have to make sure that you know and understand what it is, explain that to them, and just get it at the right price. If not, they can hold on to it and continue to do what they're doing. So, yeah.
Oh, it's Caesar. I think it's muted right now.
Yeah, Caesar, you muted.
Unless you're on the call.
I apologize. Yep. So I was just going to say, I have the last question on here. But before you guys answer it, I'll answer the PPL PPC question. So I just wanted you three to be able to see the next question. But yeah, as far as my team goes, I'd say 80-90% of our deals are coming from PPLs. I do like speed to lead a whole lot. I've had quite a bit of success in it. I do a little bit of some property leads. I know I had them on yesterday, got 2 leads from them and ended up locking up both. So that was pretty cool. So maybe I'll start buying some property leads now and see. One thing that I do want to point out, though, and it just goes back to this channel, is just to show the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? Like some of the mistakes that we made. And I know I've had conversations with J-Dub in the past about these, is, in the beginning, we were doing a lot of PPCs. Okay. And, I don't know if I should say it online, but we kind of like blew out our load a little too soon because we were just starting, right? And this is before I even knew about RJ Bates. And then finally I started following RJ Bates. I was like, oh my gosh, now I'm able to lock up deals. And so PPCs are very, very expensive. They're high quality leads, right? So if you're new and let's say you might have capital, but it's limited, right? Everyone's there's got to be some ceiling, right? So you got to be smart about it. There's nothing wrong with starting with a PPL because they are more cost effective. There's nothing wrong with cold calling FSBOs because it doesn't cost you anything. Learn, get good, get better at these things, right? And then once you're able to carry the conversation from, hey, are you looking to sell? How much are you looking to get for it? All the way to their motivation, like tell me what you got going on to get their motivation. Once you have that, then start investing in PPCs and these higher quality leads, because you don't want to pay for a lead for $400, $500 a pop, but you can't close a door to save your life. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to point it out there. That said, whoever wants to take this question first, go right at it.
Yeah, I'll start. You work as long as you have to. I mean, there's no, there's not a clock. I'm not big on KPIs. It's just me. I mean, my KPI is my bank account. So if the money's not there, I mean, it's get back to work. That's what KPI means to me. I can't make anything funny out of it. I mean, I wish there was some way that I could make KPI into a dollar sign, but it's not. I mean, whatever you've got to do, you go do it. If that's just life. I don't care what you want to do. I mean, you go do it until you can be successful. So yeah, I don't phone it in at any point during the day. I just do what I have to do. So that's not the answer that maybe anybody was looking for, but that's me.
You couldn't have given a better one, bro. My KPI is my bank account. That's like you could make some money off that bar right there. But I'll go because I'm already talking. So I do track KPIs. We're very big on KPIs because the front end activities that you guys put out are going to dictate the results. But honestly, KPIs are more there because most of our salespeople are very unorganized, and we're usually visionaries, and we're usually just like we move a million miles an hour. But some days, like we have the seesaw effect. So the KPIs let you see when you're doing the seesaw effect where your bank account's at, which kind of JW expressed on, which is what I tell my team now is if you guys look back the last 90 days, they're going to tell you, like, if you look at your bank account and then look at your KPI tracker for the last 90 days, and you'll know exactly why your bank account is in the place that it's in. Because it is the front end activities. If there were days that you were clocking out early, if there are days that you were making the calls, if there's days that you were making the calls but sounded like shit, whatever it was, your bank account is a direct correlation of that. But in terms of actual KPIs that we track, I used to do 200 calls a day on Dispo, 200 calls a day on acquisitions. The real goal was to get to 5 offers a day. But right now on acquisitions, the actual KPI on my team is 5 offers a day every single day. And if they don't have 5 offers a day, then they typically should have about 200 calls up, because if you're not having 5 offers out, it's because you probably didn't talk to enough people, which means you probably were not having a lot of pickups, which means that you probably could have got 200 calls out. So that's our KPIs. And then on Dispo, it's really just trying to have 20 conversations a day with new buyers. And then Dispo KPIs are a little bit different now because we have a whole different system that we run. So not every single day is just slamming the phones on Dispo.
Yeah, so for me, everybody here has been doing this business model longer than I have. So as I build out a team and I'm holding team members accountable, and then we would have KPIs that are kind of metrics to move by. But for me, like as I'm kind of solo with just my VA, I just grind. I mean, it depends where you're at. Like, don't get hung up in the very early days of like metrics and KPIs. Just grind until you're making money and get out of whatever hole you're in. And then once you got a little breathing room, and then you could kind of, optimize that way. But yeah, I mean, since I'm doing it myself, I don't track KPIs because I'm just constantly going like as much as I need to. And I don't need to hold myself accountable because it's just how I move anyway. But as I have team members and kind of have more of a structured, built out business, I'd probably be tracking KPIs, but that's where I'm at right now.
Yep. I know JW and I had this conversation maybe like a couple of months ago, and he and I said exactly the same thing. The only KPI that matters is my bank account. That also, I know it sounds cliche or whatever, but I guess for someone who's just starting, the way I did it, the way I do things, whether it's in real estate or any other sales team I've ever been part of, sales organization, I always go back to my dials for each set. That's all I care about. How many dials do I make? How many do I reach? And how many do I set? In this case, it wouldn't be set. It would be more of how many times do I talk to people and how many times do I offer, right? How many times do I make that offer? And so for me, I like to keep track of those, and I don't have so much of what my goal is, but for me, it's more of I just want to see which levers I need to pull, right? Because just like what Joey said, if I didn't make my 5 offers, I got to look at my dials. Oh crap, I only dialed 50 times. Ding, ding, ding. I need to make more phone calls tomorrow. So I'm going to pull that lever, right?
Yes, ma'am, I do have socks and underwear.
Now I do 200 now I do 200 dials, but I'm not reaching anyone. Well, what kind of leads do I have? Do I have a bunch of skip trace leads, and you know what I mean? And then if I'm reaching someone, how many times do I get to make that offer? So for me, it all goes back to learning. So that's what I cared more about, is where am I progressing, which levers I need to pull to keep going, right? To a point, I still remember this, February 17, I watched RJ Shorts on follow-ups or for suckers. I think that's what he called it, whatever it was. Like, it's like a one call close. And it just opened my mind. I'm like, dude, I used to do that when I was in the insurance game. I used to door knock, and literally we called it sell at will. No matter what, you make a sale that day. And so that means if you succeed at 2 p.m. or at 9 p.m., you just got to do it. And so now it's more about one contract a day, right? If I get anywhere from minimum of 3 contracts in a week, I'm a happy guy, right? And the reason why I say that, I'm going to go off track a little bit, but the reason why I say that is I just want everyone to know, and maybe you guys can agree or disagree with me on this one. When it comes to the wholesaling business, the analogy I like to use is that you literally open a liquor store and your contracts are your booze on your shelves. If you have no contracts on the shelves, what are you going to sell? Right? So at some point after listening on to other guys like Pace, King Kong, I even listened to Eric Klein for like one video, whatever. I started thinking, going, man, I don't have my own market feedback. I don't even know if I'm comping this correctly, right? So in the beginning, February 17, because I watched that video, I'm like, I'm going to close it one deal a day. In 23 days, I ended up closing 17 contracts. Now, out of those 17 contracts, only 4 of them made it to the finish line. But guess what? I learned a lot. I learned that I didn't know how to comp. Now I know what my inefficiencies were and what I needed to correct. So I just wanted to mention that because I think everyone gets so caught up in the KPIs. But if you don't know what each KPI means and what levers it means, what levers to pull on, what's the point of a KPI?
That's such a fact, bro. Because that's what I was gonna kind of break down a little bit deeper too, is just the fact that like your KPIs show you what's wrong. We make a lot of emotional decisions in business, and once you guys learn to make logical, fact-based decisions, not emotional decisions, and it could be with having people on the team and hiring and firing. Like it could literally be you think somebody is working really good, and then you look back at the last 90 days and you're like, holy shit, this guy hasn't done anything. Or you think that they're doing really bad, and then you look at the KPIs and then you see they're actually going in, but they just if they're making the offers, they're making the calls, but they're not getting any closes, it's a sales process there. So it's just figuring out, like Caesar said, you got to know which levers to pull. So like if you are brand new in the business, I mean, yeah, just get on the phones. Like don't go to try to get KPIs, don't try to do anything else other than call. But like once you start getting in a little bit of a groove, you absolutely should track your numbers, because they're just gonna it's your data to look back at. It's your like, I tried this and this worked. I didn't try this and this works kind of thing. And then once you can look back and you see, okay, I'm making every 100 calls, I'm getting a seller on the phone, and every 5 sellers I make an offer to, I'm getting a contract, or 10 net sellers I'm making an offer to, I get a contract. Then it makes the business go a little bit easier, because now you can know, like, okay, every 10 calls that I'm talking and getting an offer out, I should be getting a contract. So if I'm not, now I got to go back and self correct. But it is having those things to track so you can reference it. But yeah, if you're brand new, you got to get on the phones, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think this is a really great question by Tyler, fellow Titanium guy. What was the biggest lesson you all learned this year? Looking back, what was the most impactful moments, good and bad?
I want to start because I'm gonna have to run
Okay.
here pretty quick. So that is a great question, Tyler. Biggest lesson that I've learned is that I need people to help fill in the gaps in my weak spots. I was not effectively following up on leads. I just kept spending more money on leads, and I was not that made my cost per contract is too high. That's both good and bad. I mean, I had my best year ever. I mean, my revenue was more money than I thought I would ever make. I mean, I had no one helping me organize anything. I had no VA. I had nothing. Had no transaction coordination. I needed all of those little pieces one by one, but it took me getting there. The other part that I learned is that I needed better processes. Before we were on, I mean, Joey and I were talking. I mean, I didn't use anything. I used my brain in a spreadsheet to follow up for the longest time. Well, then I got a CRM and I was like, oh, this is great. Well, it's great until you lose it in there. I didn't lose anything on my spreadsheet. I knew exactly where it was. I could go back and look at it. I didn't have any processes. And we were on a call with Sherrod the other day with Resimply, and that was the thing that he was talking about, is get your processes built out now before you get going. That's been the biggest bottleneck that I had, is my processes were not dialed in. I did not have things in the right place. So I've hired somebody to call to help me follow up. He is a closer, but he's there to follow up and close deals as they come. I've got somebody else on the back end just helping me organize and keep things in the right spot. Organize my email, organize my files, organize all those little things so that it saves some time.
Sweet. Jesse, do you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, my first year wholesaling this year. The biggest lesson I learned is definitely the strength of our contracts. They're rock solid. Like whatever's written in that contract, it's like bound by blood. So like there was a lot of litigious situations I was going through, and lawyers got involved in like negotiations and well, I'm filing lawsuits with some people. Other stuff almost went to lawsuits, but the contract, just understanding like the contract is rock solid, and you can't let people walk on you, because as long as you're doing everything right, ethically, legally, you have all the leverage. And I think a lot of people, when they're starting out, like a seller will ghost or something, or they'll try to rewrite the terms of the contract and screw people over. And there's a balance. You don't want to automatically just go, this is a contract, I'm going to sue you. But just in the back of your mind, knowing that your contract's rock solid, you have all the leverage. For me, it allowed me to relax. And if they're starting to ghost or getting a little squirrely, then we progressively escalate slowly by giving them a formal warning, and then maybe getting like a demand letter from a lawyer, and then escalating from there. But there's steps to kind of getting them back in line. And like, you have every right with that contract to enforce that contract. So like in the first couple months, I didn't realize like how much leverage we actually had. So going through all those kind of litigation processes and dealing with lawyers and stuff, that was the most valuable for me this year.
Sweet.
Biggest lesson that I learned this year is do not sit on a deal too long, guys. Like, we probably would have moved so many more deals this year if we weren't milking the wrong ones. Meaning, like, if a deal isn't sold, like, I get 60-day contracts on everything. Every contract that we have is 60 days. So technically I have 60 days to get it to the finish line. And what we were doing a lot of was extending. We were doing a lot of holding on to things. And it's like, there comes a point where you do got to let it go. And like, you got to spend time on the things that make you money. So like, if you have blasted this thing out to every investor and their brother in the area, and it's still not sold, and you're like, you're at 100K and every investor is hitting you at 50K, and it's like, no one's coming above 50, go for the price reduction. If the seller's not willing to do it, then you cancel. It's that simple. You do not wait and try to milk it, like, to try to make a couple extra grand. Because we had too many deals where it was like us trying to like prove our underwriting right, when it's like, even if the underwriting's perfect, there will be times that deals don't move. There's things that are going to come out of your control, even if you do everything right. So it's really just making sure that you have a system for everything. Like that's the biggest thing. Like we have a timeline for dispo now. Every deal on every day has a different thing that's going on. There, what we were doing until that, like until we made this change, was every deal on every day was getting called the same amount. That was it. We were just calling, get buyers, add more buyers, and it wasn't moving the needle. We were closing deals, but like getting from 0 to 100K versus getting from 100K to a million, it's gonna be in your systems. You're not gonna win if you don't have the right systems and processes, not just on acquisition, but throughout the entire business. Especially once you start running at scale. Because like typically at any given time, we have between 20 to 30 contracts locked up. So you have to know, you have to have the people in place and you got to have the systems in place to make sure everything's getting touched, your sellers are getting taken care of every single week, not once a month, and making sure that the deal's moving the way it's supposed to. Because I think that was probably the biggest lesson that we learned. And then most impactful moment, um, I mean, January I did 100K month. The first quarter of the year I did 227K. So I'd say money wise, that, but that was not impactful for me. That was mind changing, life changing, but that wasn't like that was just like the next step in the process, if that makes sense. I'd say the most impactful thing, I started a community in I want to say August. And since I started that community and since I've been building this business and like training and hiring new people, I've realized I love teaching people this business. I love sales training and like there's no better feeling than taking someone that's never been in real estate, never been in sales and bringing them in here and within a month's time them actually making money. That is like the best feeling I've ever had. And I'd say impactfulness, it's just like it's genuinely just helping other people and showing people that like this stuff is real. Like you can come from my situation where I dropped out of college. I had $0 in my bank account when I started this thing, and now we're on the way to doing seven figures. So it's really just fucking systems, processes, and people.
Perfect. Thanks, Joey. Yeah, I definitely want to answer this. And by the way, for you guys watching, J-Dub had to hop off. So his information, I have it on the bottom of the screen. If you guys want to reach out to him, also if you have any deals in Amarillo, ready to locked up, ready to be moved, J-Dub is also a buyer. So he'll let you know if he's going to be your partner on the dispo side for wholesaling, or if he wants it for himself, he'll be the end buyer. And one thing I love about J-Dub is he is fully transparent and he'll let you know right off the bat. To answer that question, Tyler, I'm going to start off with the impactful moments first versus the biggest lesson. I'd say 4 impactful moments for me this year. One is February 17 when I decided to go, okay, I saw RJ Bates and I was like, this is simple enough. What the heck was I doing complicating this thing? If this guy can lock up 50 deals in 50 days in 50 states, I can lock up 1 deal a day. Now, granted, I still have a lot to learn, but I'm just confident because I know I can back it up with hard work, right? And so when I did that, I was able to lock up literally 1 contract every day. So that was good. The second impactful moment for me was joining the Titanium family, Titanium University, because there was a moment early this year where we had a deal and both of my business partners were like, dude, you overpriced that by a lot. I think it was like 120. And they were like, dude, we need that like at 80 or 60. I'm like, you guys are crazy. And 2.5 days later, we sold it for 150. It was a $30,000 fee. It was something like that, 25, it was a pretty big fee. The point is, we learned that day that there is a buyer for every single deal. The problem is, how do you find those buyers? Who's your audience? And how do you market to those audience so that that buyer will come to you? And so joining the Titanium family helped a lot for a couple of reasons. One, because I'm with these guys now, right? I have access to everyone who's doing this thing every day and learning from them. But secondly, I got a hold of their profit calculator. That profit calculator for me was a game changer because now I was able to connect the dots. Like, oh, okay, that's the exit strategy. And everyone's talked about the exit strategy, but the way it was laid out, it just made sense for me. And so from that day on, we knew how to market it. We knew how to market on investor lift, Facebook group, whatever. So now we're getting more buyers coming in. Doesn't mean everything makes it to the finish line, but we have a higher success rate, right? So that's the second moment. The third moment happened last night, actually. And I just put out a shorts earlier. I was calling a seller. It was a speed to lead. And I was using PropStream to look at the property details and link properties. So when I click on link properties, it shows up, and this lady has 112 properties, all in Missouri and Kentucky. And I was so excited to like talk to her. And the call went from a seller's call to a buyer's call. So now she's part of my buyer's list. But the reason why I wanted to point this out is because same time last year, because remember, I started making phone calls on November 15, 2023. So the same time last year, I still remember I was at a coffee shop here in Chula Vista, and I was still using PropWire, and the same thing. I came across a lead, I looked it up, and the guy had 30 properties. Dude, and I've only been cold calling for 30 days, and that phone felt so heavy. I couldn't call that guy for 30 minutes. Actually, it might have been longer than 30 minutes. I literally just skipped him, called everyone else, and go back. I'm like, no, I'm not ready yet. And so I just wanted to point that out, because the way my mind works is if I went from fear of failure to confidence, now seeing the opportunity that's in front of me in 12 months, imagine what I can do in 6 months, in the next 12 months, right? And so for me, I tuck those away, those small wins. I tuck it away in the back of my mind, because we do come across a lot of losses, right? It can get pretty lonely. And when you're able to dig into those moments and go, you know what? No, I'm actually pretty darn good. You know what I mean? And then the last key moment for me was creating this channel, because I've heard people have called me, emailed me, and like, bro, like I literally hung on for one more week because I heard you and I locked up a deal, right? Or I'm hanging on because I like listening to you and having people over, and you guys are making calls, and now I'm starting to make calls. So for me, as long as I can change someone's mindset or someone's life, like for me, that's everything. So those are my impactful moments. So the biggest lesson I learned, I'm gonna sound very conceited here, but biggest lesson I learned is I'm pretty effing good at what I do, and I can go toe to toe against a lot of people out there. Right? There's a lot of crappy wholesalers out there, so I'm very, very happy. But also at the same time, I still have a lot to learn, like from these guys. I mean, Jesus, Jesse. I mean, a lot of people. You said how much you did for the first year. I mean, that's staggering for me, right? Like for me, I just wanted to make 100,000. You made 7x in your first 12 months. You know, Joey, like you have a team of 8 people. There's so much for me to learn. You know what I mean? So yeah, I am very confident, but I'm also very humble knowing that I still got a long ways to go. So one thing I always want to say is I am not yet where I want to be, but I'm happy that I'm not where I was 12 months ago. You know what I mean? And so I think that's the way I kind of wanted to end this. I know we wanted to make some phone calls. I know you guys got to get going. If you can't make calls right now because it's pretty late, I'm doing the last 2 days, so it will be the 19th and the 20th are just going to be action days. So I'm inviting anyone and everyone to hop on the live and just literally make phone calls. So if you guys can make calls, stay on. If you cannot, feel free to hop off. And then hopefully you guys can join me on one of the days where I'm going to be making a lot of phone calls.
I could probably make a couple, and then I got to get out of here, but we're going to be making some calls together.
Nice. Awesome. Jesse, what about you? Oh, by the way, guys, since people are still on, if you want to put it on the comment, your email address or your link for like JV deals, or if you're looking for someone, feel free to do that. Send it to me as well. I can also put it on the description when I, on the YouTube.
I'm going to be muted, but I'll hang on the live here, but I'll be muted. I got to work on some stuff.
Okay, cool. Jesse, you're okay with me sharing your email address to the rest of the guys?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
And I just put my socials on there. Instagram is probably the best way to hit me up, guys.
He said social. I was like, dude, you put your social security in there? Like, what's going on?
Oh, fuck no.
Guys, yeah, if you guys are just hopped on, Jesse's looking for a quote unquote follow-up specialist. So feel free to hit him up if you want to join a team. He's definitely looking for someone. I know Joey mentioned that he's currently not looking for anyone, but if someone is hungry enough, he's more than happy to talk and see what he can do.
Always willing to give somebody a shot.
Perfect. So I'm just going to put this on the comments. So, IG. And then what did you say, Joey? Shirtless on Instagram and Joey Biba on Facebook.
Shirtless closer on Instagram, yes.
Shirtless closer.
Yes, sir. Everyone's probably like, why the fuck is this guy the shirtless closer? Guys, I have been calling with my shirt off for the last 5 years. I literally work from home in Colombia in many different areas. I've done this shit virtually since we started. The reason it's a shirtless closer is because there's been many times that I've gotten up here and I did not have a shirt on and it was not planned and we went live with the fucking shirt off and it just kind of caught on. So, I mean, really the meaning behind it, the genuine purpose behind it is I used to have to go to an office in a fucking suit, guys. There he is. I used to have to go to an office in a suit, and I used to have to go on financial meetings in a suit, and I don't like wearing suits, like let alone a shirt when I fucking call at my desk at my home. So just not having to look a certain part is really what makes wholesaling so dope for me because it's like you could literally be the most tatted up guy. You could be bald. You could have your fucking shirt off, your pants off, however you guys want to do it. All that matters is you have a phone, Wi-Fi, and a computer, and you guys can make money from anywhere in the fucking world. And that's the dopest part about this business.
Absolutely. That's great. So yeah, let's go ahead and make calls. I'll go ahead and mute you guys when we need to, and we'll make a couple of calls today. And anyone else that's watching, if you guys have any other questions that come up, feel free to tag it on here.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Justin, my guy, looks like we're playing a little bit of phone tag. So give me a call when you get this, and let's talk about your property that you're looking to sell. All right, man. Talk soon. Bye-bye. Let's see. All right. Oh, this guy works in the oil field. No wonder why. Next.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message.
I had to switch over some leads. Now we're good.
Nice.
I'm just power blasting right now.
Go for it.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message.
Hello, Valani Trucking.
Hey, is this Mike?
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, this is Joey calling. I was calling about your property. I think you had spoken to one of our agents or maybe filled out a web form recently about it.
Not really, but what are you talking about?
Do you have a property that you're looking to sell right now?
I don't know, you tell me.
Well, I'm calling to ask because I think you had spoken to one of our agents or something.
What property? I got a lot of property. Which one are you talking about?
Give me two. The one in Calumet Park, 12934 South Throop Street.
Yeah.
Are you looking to sell that one or any of your properties?
I don't know, but if somebody comes up with the right money, I got an offer of $1.2 million. I don't know. I'll see.
Got it. Like, would you be willing to sell it for what it's worth in its current condition, or is it only if you got kind of like more than it was worth that you would sell it?
Well, there's no buildings or none. It's just property.
Okay, like it's literally just land?
Yeah, 3.5 acres.
3.5 acres. Okay. Okay, but is it something you're like actively looking to sell, or it's only if you got like a crazy number for it
I'm
you
not
would?
actively looking to sell. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff there. I got 100 trailers. I got trucks. I got all kinds of stuff there. So I'd have to figure out a place to move it to.
Got it.
Wouldn't be no instant sale. I guarantee you that.
It wouldn't be an instant sale, you said?
No.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, usually we could get these things closed out in 30 to 60 days. So we're not looking to do like
it
an.
would take me more than that to clear that stuff out of there.
Okay.
I got to find a place to put it.
I mean, we could work with your time frame. What number are you looking to get for the property?
I told you I got $1.2 million offered.
Is that where you're looking to get?
Well, I don't know. I got another guy who's going to get some bids on it. Some other agent, he's going to get some bids on it. He said, I think I can do better or whatever.
Okay.
It just depends. What? No. Whoever comes up with the best bid, that's who I'm going to take.
Okay.
I'm in no hurry to sell it. So.
But 1.2, that essentially would be a number that would make you happy if I could actually get you that.
Well, that's what I have already, so it would have to be more than that probably.
Okay, like how much more?
This other guy says he can do better. I don't know. I think he's BSing me, to be honest with you. But
I mean, if he hasn't made a solid offer yet, he's definitely BSing you.
he wants me to sign a contract. I told him I'm not signing no contract.
Oh no, well if we did business, we would absolutely sign a contract. That's the only way I could buy the property. But it's just a matter of obviously we'd have to go through the process and see if it's something that made sense. So if I got you and
Well, if you come up with the right money, then I'd sign a contract. But I'm not signing a contract where you go out and take bids.
oh yeah, no, I'm not going to take out bids. No. I do raise money for every deal. We definitely do it that way, but that's the price you're going to get unless I go there and there's some like crazy environmental damage or something from the trucks that are there. That's the only reason we wouldn't be able to perform. But if I got you a number that made you happy, would you be ready to start the process right now if we could come to terms on numbers?
It could be. I can find a place, yeah. I gotta find some place to put it.
Okay, so if I could make it so that
There's a lot of stuff. Believe me, there's a lot of stuff there. Believe me.
no, I hear you. I mean, it sounds like it. But if we could come to terms on numbers and I could actually give you the time that you needed to find a new place, is that something you'd be willing to start the process on right now?
That could be, yeah. Could be.
Okay. Perfect. So just a little bit about the way my process works. I'm going to ask you a couple questions about the land, and then I'll get you an offer on this call. If that offer makes sense, I'll send you over a purchase agreement that we'll both go over together. And then as long as you're good with everything on the agreement, we'll sign it, send it over to a title company. They'll obviously keep you represented as a seller and us as the buyers. And then we'd pick a closing date of your choosing to receive the money, which title would obviously distribute via wire transfer certified check. Would that be good?
Yeah, could be.
Okay. Okay. So I know you say there's a bunch of trucks and everything on the land. What can I use the land for?
It's commercial property. You can do whatever you want, I guess.
Like industrial or like multifamily commercial? Because it could be two different things, obviously.
No, it's industrial back there.
Okay, it's just straight industrial.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there utilities or anything there?
Yeah.
Okay, like all the hookups are already there, everything?
Well, my building burned down. It was there 4 years ago, so they shut the gas off across the street. But
Got
you know,
it.
there's sewers, there's water, there's electric.
Okay. Understood. And then obviously you like cleared everything out since the building burned down?
There's what?
Since the building burned down, you obviously like cleared out all the debris and everything. It's just the trucks that are on the land right now. Is there anything else on the land?
Building's gone. I got a pile of brick there that I got to move out yet.
Okay, so it's still gonna have to get kind of cleared.
Well, the building's gone. The building, it's all gone.
Yeah.
It's just stuff. It was a little low spot in the back over there. I was gonna take that brick and fill in that.
This guy's not that motivated. This is a weird lead, but I just want you guys to see the process so we can take you through it. Okay, understood. And then has there ever been an environmental test or anything done to the land?
Oh yeah.
How recent?
Oh, I don't know. 20 years ago, probably now.
Okay, and how long have those trucks been sitting on the land?
Well, we use it. We go in and out of there every day. I've had that property for I don't know, 45 years maybe.
Oh wow.
Not all of it because I bought some more in pieces, but
Got it. Understood. Okay. And what do you have a business or something that you're operating out of here? That's why the trucks are always going in and out?
yeah, my trucking company.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then. You got a trucking company. Cool. Okay. And are you guys like nationwide or you guys just do stuff like around Illinois?
No, we're local. A couple 100 miles of Chicago.
Got you. Got you. Okay. Understood. And then obviously other than me calling you and you getting the right price, is there any other reason that you're looking to sell this?
No, not really. It just, one guy called me up, made an offer, and I got to thinking about it, and I told him I'd let him know.
Okay.
And I was over there looking around. I said, man, it's going to take a lot of time to get all this stuff out of here, and I got to find someplace to put it all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. And the people that offered you 1.2, what were they looking at this as? Were they like trying to like run their business out of here or something, or were they like an investor just making an offer?
Yeah, I think the guy had a trucking company too.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And
One guy had a trucking company. Another guy was a real estate guy that said he's got a guy that wanted to buy it too. But he's the one who wanted me to sign the contract. I said, no, I'm still taking some bids from individuals. If somebody gives out the right money, then I'll make the deal. So I said, if you find somebody and the price is right, I'll sign the contract. But I'm not signing a contract where I can't go get somebody on my own.
Yeah, well, typically that's how all contracts are going to be. If you're going to sign a contract, you're binded in that thing, obviously, for the entirety of the contract. So it's just making sure whoever you go with, you're happy
Right.
with, and you're actually going to get your money. That's the most important thing.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And then
What's your commission?
what's my commission?
Yeah.
0. We don't charge commission. Like whatever number we agree upon, you're going to net that entire number. I like typically, honestly, I don't buy industrial land unless like there's really good money to be made here. So like if we were going to do this, the way I would be doing it is I do have financial partners that we work with. I'd probably just raise the money from them if I could rent it out to somebody that has a trucking company that needs a lot to park his trucks. That's the only way that I'd be able to get this done for you is if that situation came in, or if I just listed on the MLS, me and you came to terms on a number that I knew I could actually get it done at, and and then we could probably roll it that way too. But that guy that was coming in at 1.2, I'm guessing so they had their own trucking company, and like that's kind of the going rate to park trucks, because I know that's one of the biggest things is finding an area to actually park all the trucks with trucking companies, because I'm from New Jersey originally. We have big issue here, and I know guys that are willing to pay a couple million for a lot as long as it's in certain
There's
areas.
issues every place.
Exactly.
Every empty lot over here has got trucks in it.
Got it. So there isn't an issue, I guess, in Illinois with like the zoning for like you have to have a certain area to put the lot in to put the trucks on, kind of thing. Like you could put up a truck, like a truck lot, basically anywhere, as long as it's industrial.
Well,
Or
not anywhere, but
I've,
in that commercial, you can put it in where I'm at because I've been here for so many years.
got you. Okay, so it's like already grandfathered in essentially.
Right off I-57.
Okay.
Half a mile from I-57.
No, that makes sense. Did you have you
Miles from or it's 5 miles from 80. It's about 5 miles to 294.
understood? Have you ever had anybody approach you looking to rent it?
There's no space for me to rent it.
Yeah, got it. The reason I'm asking is
Well,
I'm just kind of wondering.
I got guys that park there.
So how much would they pay you? Like, let's say that you sold the whole thing, or let's say you just got all your trucks out of there, found a new location, you held it, and then you just rented it out. How much do you think you'd actually be able to get monthly for rent there?
Well, it depends if you put security in, and most of it's fenced, but some of it's not. You'd have to put some kind of security in there, and then these guys are getting up to 2.25, 2.5 a month.
2.25 to 2.5. What do you mean? I'm sorry.
$250, $225, $250 a month per truck.
Per truck, and then how many trucks can the lot fit?
How many lots fit? How many will fit in there?
How many trucks can like one person put in the entire thing? Like, let's say they want to rent the entire thing out,
Probably 100.
and that would be monthly.
Yeah, never really figured out because I had a building, I had some other stuff back there, but if you cleared a whole land out, I would guess you could probably
Gotcha.
100 anyway, maybe more.
Give or take 100. Okay. So on the lowest end, it could probably bring in about 20 grand a month. Not like gross, not net, obviously, not including putting security in place and all the other expenses.
Right.
Okay. How much, what is your actual expenses there? Like taxes and everything? What's like the monthly nut to just keep everything going?
Taxes are about 70 grand.
70 grand. Okay. Wait, 70 grand for the year?
Yeah.
Sheesh. Okay, so just off taxes, it's taking out almost or 6 G's a month then. And then I guess, is there really any other expenses that you have to pay for the land?
No, I don't know that.
Yeah, no, I know that. I mean, I guess like there's no insurance that you have to carry, anything like that.
Well, if you're parking other stuff in there, I mean, I got it through my truck insurance, but you'd have to put on some kind of liability insurance
Got it. Okay.
in case somebody falls down. And, it's under my general liability now. If somebody falls down and gets hurt there, but
100%.
if you're just doing that with it, you'd have to have your own liability policy to do it.
Okay. And have you thought about, I guess, like if you did sell it, where you would be moving the trucks to?
No, I've been looking around.
Okay. Most likely in the same town though and everything?
No, there's no room in that town.
Got you. Got you. Okay. Is this like local to you or is this far away from where like you actually live and stuff?
About 40 miles from where I live.
Got it. So is, I guess in a perfect world you'd want to have things a little bit closer to you, it sounds like?
No, because my business is mainly over that way.
Oh, got
I
you. So you
thought about
gotta
moving business down the road about 20 miles, but the fuel cost would be more than it would be worth moving.
like where most of the routes that you guys are doing, it's up that way anyways, essentially.
Yeah, we're pretty much in the center of everything we do, pretty much.
Understood. No, that makes sense. Okay. Okay, so it's most likely gonna be. It's not like being too far away is an issue. Then it's kind of right where you need it. It's just finding. I guess like would it be a bigger space or it's literally just if you get money out of this thing, you're gonna be good.
Well, it's just, I don't know. The place is convenient for a trucking company because if you're going to do anything out of Chicago, I don't care if you're going south, north to Wisconsin, east, west, doesn't make any difference. We're near every frickin' expressway.
Got it. Okay. And I could give a couple different options. Like cash is usually the primary one. Is this something where if I could get you a number that made you happy, you would be willing to take it in payments, like not all the cash at once?
I don't know. It depends. I'd have to talk to my attorney or my accountant just to see what would be the best way.
Okay, but if they were on board with it, that's something you'd be open to?
Possibly.
Okay, cool.
The problem with that is there's no guarantee.
What do you mean by that?
Well, so a trucking company comes and buys it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I take part down and let them make payments. In 3 years from now, they go bankrupt.
Then you would just take the lot back. You would get, let's say that they had already paid you 300 grand into it. You actually keep that 300 grand and get the lot back and just sell it again. Obviously, that's not an ideal situation. The goal is to be done with it.
It don't happen that easy. Just get the lot back.
Yeah, no, you obviously got to go through the foreclosure process. It's a little bit easier when you're doing it on a deal like this.
Everything else. I have attorneys.
No, absolutely. I'm just seeing because, like, just looking at the numbers, honestly, I don't know if I'm not going to be cash. There's no way I'm going to be at 1.2. Just being a straight shooter with you. Like, we could get this done for you. I can make it super simple, get this done extremely quick, but that's not really what you're looking for, obviously, because you got to find a new place anyways. But if we were going to do it straight cash, I'd probably be coming in closer to like 600-700 grand, nowhere near the 1.2, because I have to figure out a way, obviously, to rent it out and also eventually go to a bank and pull my money out of it.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I'm good.
Okay, but if I could do the one,
Sometime in the future, let me know.
yeah, I mean, if I could do the 1.2, but I did it over time, like, is that something if the accountants and attorneys were okay with, you'd be open to?
It depends if we put it in escrow or something, and you take it out, whatever. I just don't want to get stuck in that boat where somebody owes me $500,000 and now I got to go chasing the money because they,
Yeah. Usually the only
whatever.
Usually it's like if you don't need the cash now, like if you have the trucking company, you got cash coming in every single month, then that would sometimes be the better option. But if there was an immediate need for the cash, then it's either cash out, find a broker to sell it, or obviously be fully done with it. Like I've worked with other guys that have businesses kind of like yours in the past, and that was the route we ended up doing, was just doing it over time because then I could get the more money out of it.
Yeah, it just depends.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know. I have to think about that one because I know too many people who got screwed on deals.
I got you. I got you. Well,
So I don't,
if
I'm
it,
just taking off cash, got a lot of taxes to pay.
yeah. No, well, if you took it all cash, there's a lot to pay, obviously. Obviously, it's going to talk to your accountant about this. I'm not the accountant, but you could definitely, it'll help the tax burden a little bit if you took it over time. It's just obviously structuring it the right way with everybody. But yeah, I mean, typically the way we've done it for other people, like we'll set up a debt servicing company. Like I'm not here to to do the deal, and then like 3 years from now you take the property back on me because I literally would be out a couple $100,000 or whatever it was that we agreed upon. So like I'm not in business to do that either. Like we try to do everything above board in the right way, but it's just making sure that that would be a good idea for you. So if anything, what I'll do, I'll circle back in a couple days and I'll put something together for you and we'll see if we can make it work. And then if anything, we'll set up some time with the accountants and
I'll give you
attorney.
my email. You can just email me something.
Okay. Send me your email. Typically, I'm still going to call you back most likely Friday if that's okay, just to see if it's something that would make sense.
I'll give you my email.
Okay, what is it?
Mike.
All right, we're good now. I was trying to take that guy through the whole process just so you guys could hear me make an offer, and like literally there was no pain to give him at all. So
Yeah.
like I literally started talking myself out of the cash offer on there. I was like, yo, I know that doesn't even make sense because you don't need it done quick. So I could be 600-700K. Like typically I'm digging into the pain before I make my offer, so I put them in that emotional state and then I hit them with the low offer so that they accept it. They're not always going to accept it, but it's going to get them down on numbers if we need to. And then I always go RJ Bates once I know I'm at my price or I'm close to my price. Then I go for the RJ close, and that's how we do it.
Yeah, no, that was great, man. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, I mean, we all know, right? Like right in the beginning, we're like, oh, this is if you weren't doing this for the viewers, you would have cut that
Not
off
probably, yeah.
2 minutes. It was done, right? Because he falls into no motivation bucket. And so completely understand and thank you for doing that for the viewers and for a lot of the guys that are watching. I mean, they've done some, so they understand. But if you're new and you haven't gotten your teeth kicked in, I would have gone through all of that, Joey. Like back in the days, back in November of last year, December, January, I didn't care whether the guy had motivation or not. And I know people are like, well, dude, you're wasting your time. I'm like, yeah, but I needed to get the words out of my mouth. I needed to make it second nature. So any practice I got, I would take. You know what I mean? Because I talked to a lot of people like, oh man, no, I cut that short. I'm like, all right, well, how many deals have you closed yet? Like, like all these little things you got to look at. I know it can be a time waster, and when you're experienced enough, then yeah, absolutely. Like you're wasting your time, right? Like if you were doing this on your own without being on YouTube, like that would have been a waste of time, right? But because you wanted to show it to people, and that's why I'm very thankful that you did that.
Yeah, 100%. And it's also just vetting them. Like I never take what they say at face value. That's why I went that extra layer deep at the beginning of the pitch. Like I'm gonna literally sit there and be like, look, if I got you a number, my script's already built out to vet them out at the beginning because like I am not taking someone through a full pitch unless they say yes. If you got me a number that made you happy, I'm ready to start the process right now. And if they say they say they're the only decision makers on the deed. If there's any other decision makers, I'm getting the other one on a call. If they can't get on the call, I'm scheduling it. And if their answer is not yes, I'm ready to start today, then I'm not doing it. But if I'm like, are you looking to sell? And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still going to ask further there. And the question I train my team to ask is, are you looking to sell for more than your property is worth or what it's worth in its current condition? And
Dude,
that
I
basically,
absolutely love that question, by the way. Sorry to cut you off there, but keep going. I just wanted to say I love that question. I'm going to start using that.
it's fucking gold, bro, because it's like just because they say, bro, think about it. You've never talked to them before, even though they could be a lead, like they don't know who you are, where you are, any of that shit. All that they know is that Caesar's calling them. That's it. So it's like their knee jerk reaction is they're already guarded. You know what I mean? So it's like you do have to break that guard down at the beginning. Like some people, if they need to sell, like, yeah, they're going to be like, are you looking to sell? Yeah. How much you looking to get? 50 grand. Okay, cool. If I got you an offer that made sense, you ready to start the process today? Yeah. Okay, beautiful. Like that's obviously an ideal situation, but I've closed a lot of deals with people that didn't start off like that, if that
Absolutely.
makes sense. So it's like it's getting if they're not a seller, I do not if they don't actually want to sell, I do not want to spend a minute on the phone with them. But
Absolutely.
it's just getting through that shit.
Dude, can you drop that on the comments? Not on the private chat, but on the comments.
I don't know if I could write on them, bro. Hold on.
Here you can just click on comments.
You know, I'm on it. It's just not populating the
Oh, well,
type.
just put it on private chat. I can always just copy and paste it. But that's
Oh
a
yeah.
great question because I've been thinking of using a line like, are you looking for a fair price based on its current condition, or are you looking for a fair price that's favorable to you? You know, because I like your question because it hits them.
Because it's like, are you a real seller? Like, are you willing? This thing has been built out over years of failure. That's why we ask it this good now. I definitely did not used to do this shit. But it's like, think about it logically. Like, if you're an actual seller, you're gonna be like, no, I'll sell it for what it's worth in its current condition. I don't care if you said 500K and your house is worth two, because like you might think it's worth 500K.
That's right.
So that's why I ask it like that, because it's like are you willing to sell it for what it's worth in its current condition, or are you looking to get more than it's worth? And now you trigger them a little bit, which
Yep.
makes them give you the real response. And that's the science behind that thing. Okay,
Dude, I love it. I absolutely love that question. That's why I'm asking you to drop it on there. I'm going to copy and paste it right now.
it's current. I feel like I literally word this like 10 different ways, but it's all always going to be the same gist.
Dude, it's great. It's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
All right, I'm going to put it on the comment here. What time is it over there right now, Joey?
7:20.
7:20. All right, cool. And then Jesse, Jesse's in Mexico right now, right? I think you said.
Yeah, I got same time zone as Texas. I think it's 6:20 for me.
Okay, cool. Well, guys, I know you guys have been here for a couple of hours now, so thank you very much, man. I really do appreciate it. Please hop on my calls or Joey. Like I know you've got your own channel, or I don't know if it's Facebook or YouTube, but dude, feel free to invite me if you want. I'm more than happy to hop on yours as well. At the end of the day, I just want to learn as much as I can from everyone because everyone's got their own little nugget. You know what I mean? It's like it's the same question, but just how you deliver it. And there are times when I listen to him like, nope, that's not going to work for me. It might work for Joey, but it ain't going to work for me, you know? But like that question you ask, I'm like, holy crap. Like that's my style. I can ask that question.
Exactly. No, bro, we're definitely doing some lives together, Jesse. If you ever want to come on my live, I'm always down to do calls with you too, bro. But yeah, bro, we're
Sure.
definitely gonna do some fucking calls together, do some deals together. And I appreciate you having me on here today, bro. And if you guys ever need help, anything wholesaling wise, I'm always here to help you guys. Every Friday we do a free community call, 5 p.m. Eastern time Friday. It's literally just an open mastermind to the public. So if you guys ever want to come through, hit me up on Instagram. I'll send you guys a Zoom link. And let's have some fucking fun together and make some money together, guys. That's what this shit's about.
Nice.
Right on.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. And for everyone that stayed on, thank you for your support. And, just smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't. And like I always say, the most important thing is leave your biggest takeaway in the comments below. For me, it makes me feel good that we're able to add value that perhaps can change the trajectory of your journey. And by the way, if there's anything that you guys heard us say today where you're like, I would have done it a little differently, please. I know I'm open here, so I know these guys are always open. So we want to grow as much as you guys want to grow. So want to end it with my quote, which is grow together and inspire each other. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Peace out, guys.